This week on the announcers table, we're discussing Fastlane, WrestleMania is finally taking shape, and Shane McMahon gets beat up.
Did you see Shane McMahon get his ass beat? It was awesome. It was glorious.
What's going on, Wrestle Geeks? Welcome to another episode of the announcers table. I'm your host, B-Rye. With me, as always, the Canadian screwjob himself, Hertz Gewurz.
Hey, what's up, B-Rye? Did you see Shane McMahon get his ass beat?
So you want to go straight to Shane McMahon? That's where we're going, straight to Shane McMahon.
That's all I want to talk about.
Well, unfortunately, we can't talk about that because we have other talking points. But yeah, we can talk about Shane McMahon getting his ass beat. You know, the fact that he closed out the show kind of had you disappointed.
Yeah. Anytime, look, I have a problem with anytime you're going to give me a 15 to 30 minute talking segment on a 2-hour wrestling show. Like, that's a bad idea. That's just bad producing. It's lazy and selfish, right? But you're going to give me Shane McMahon announcing he's going to take an indefinite leave of absence, quitting the show basically, and he then gets his ass beat. Great. I am all in on that. And he announced his announcement was actually a good match. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. That's a good match.
It is a good match. It's a very good match.
They've had a feud. I mean, they've already had their feud play out on the main roster, right? And they had their feud play out in NXT, but they never had a WrestleMania blow-off match. So give them, 3 weeks now to build up to this match, and it's going to be great. These two are excellent together, and, have them do this match, and then, like you've said a few times, move one of them, back over to Raw, keep them separate for a while. But this match is going to be fire, but they both teamed up one last time to just lay a beat down on Shane McMahon. Did you see that powerbomb at the end?
Yes, I did. That powerbomb looked very painful. Painful.
That looked really painful. Like that whatever they powerbombed him onto, that didn't give at all. It wasn't, stacked cardboard boxes with pillows in them. Normally what they do. No. That was a hard thing that he powerbombed him onto. It was awesome.
It was awesome. I mean, I gotta give it to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for that last segment on tonight's episode of SmackDown. But moving forward, because you're getting a little excited there about Shane McMahon, I want to talk about Fastlane. Fastlane was Sunday's pay-per-view. Now, I want to give Fastlane a little bit of credit. It had me more interested than it did in Elimination Chamber. The matches weren't as predictable, even though you did predict. And if you guys watched last week's episode, the Canadian Screwjob predict that Randy Orton was walking out as United States Champion. Yeah, that's just that's a basic WWE thing. They like to have, they like those kinds of stories, right? The Grand Slam champion, he's never before had this title. They like to put it on him. That makes sense, and it'll set up, a rematch or a triple threat at WrestleMania with Bob Roode and Jinder Mahal. Now, one of the things that I predicted, or I mentioned on last week's episode, was having Asuka come out as soon as Charlotte defeated Ruby Riott, and that's exactly what happened. I was so hyped when I heard Asuka's music hit. I was like, yes, we get AJ Styles and Shinsegae, and now we're going to get Charlotte versus Asuka. And I want to applaud WWE and Vince McMahon. They're finally showing their Japanese superstars love. They're finally giving them the limelight that they deserve. They're not giving them any stereotypical gimmicks. They're actually pushing them into main event status, and I just want to applaud them for that, because as you know, in the past when we had Kai and Tai and a lot of these other Japanese superstars, it was always something very gimmicky. Yokozuna was a sumo wrestler and stuff like that. So I just have to applaud them for that. And the way Asuka made her entrance, no words. She saluted Charlotte, and then Ronda Rousey. Take a look at what Asuka did. That's how you point at a WrestleMania sign. They finally pulled the trigger. I mean, Asuka and Shinsegae Nakamura are stars, and you can tell that by looking at them. They didn't even really need to spend that much time in NXT, although they both did spend a long time there. These two are stars. They are A+, and you cannot go wrong. I hope they both win at WrestleMania. I hope so too. I mean,
I would love to see Charlotte break the streak. I mean, you got think about it. She's the queen, and you got the Empress. I mean, what better match or what better superstar to break the streak than Charlotte Flair? Mind you, these two have never met one-on-one in the ring. Because by the time Asuka came into NXT, Charlotte was already on the main roster. So, I mean, I wouldn't even be disappointed if either one of them lost. Because, like I said, it's a dream match. It's a match come true. We've already seen Asuka and Sasha, Asuka and Bayley, Asuka and Nia. That's what the matches we were looking for. Now we're going to get Asuka and Charlotte, which I think is going to tear the house down at WrestleMania.
It is. It could be the best match on the show.
Now, moving forward on Fastlane, we had the Tag Team Title Championship. And the Bludgeon Brothers just interfered and destroyed all the tag teams.
For the first time, you see Harper and Rowan actually going out and attacking someone worth a damn, right? They've been squashing jobbers this whole time, and also Heath Slater and Rhino. So finally, we see them do something, and it's an interesting situation. Probably going to lead to a triple threat tag team championship match at WrestleMania.
I mean that's kind of too basic. I mean, they would have to do something like maybe a TLC or maybe like a no disqualification or a Texas Tornado match where you don't have to tag in. Something to make it interesting. Just to make it just a regular tag match, it would just be completely boring. Sure. Something I wouldn't look forward to. Probably use it as a bathroom break. But they have to make it interesting for me to actually want to watch it. Like I said, the only matches I actually want to see now are like Asuka and Shinsuke and the Ronda Rousey, which actually has me pretty interested as well because I want to give it up to Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. They're doing this to promote not only Ronda Rousey but themselves. And Triple H is one guy you definitely want to be in the ring in because he's not going to bury young new talent. He's the guy that's trying to get this young new talent onto the main roster so that way we always have something fresh and something new.
It's true, and I'm not a big fan of McMahon's in the ring, but what you're saying is right. Triple H in the ring is always a good idea. Kurt Angle in the ring is always good, and the story itself is going to be interesting for Ronda Rousey. But putting Stephanie McMahon in the ring doesn't make a lot of sense to me. She's been around for a really long time, and she's not a wrestler, and she's never been a wrestler. So putting her in the ring with Ronda Rousey, I guess it makes sense in terms of Ronda Rousey doesn't have any wrestling experience, so don't put her in the ring with someone who's going to show her up. But overall, I don't much like the match, and I hope that they stick it somewhere early on the card where it's not going to take any light away from the better matches that they have going.
I agree. They should either open the show or if there's a very very high-profile match, let's say like Asuka and Charlotte, where they tear the house down, maybe have that match go right after to cool the crowd down a little bit.
Yep. Absolutely.
But I mean, this WrestleMania is looking stacked. I'm actually looking forward to this WrestleMania. I don't think there's not going to be at least one bad match in there. I'm hoping. Because the way it's looking is like everything's almost a dream match. John Cena, Undertaker. Hopefully we get that. Well, not hopefully. We're going to get that. The bar against just Braun Strowman.
What a ridiculous! I think we're gonna see on Monday night Kurt Angle forcing Braun Strowman to pick a partner. My prediction would probably be Elias.
That's my prediction too.
At WrestleMania, and that's a good spot for him. But I think it would be a very interesting match to just have Braun Strowman never tag Elias in and still win.
Yes, I would go with that.
That would be a fun thing to do, and like have him have his whole reign as a tag champion, and he never tags in. I think that would be a fun thing to do. But yeah, that over the top rope challenge for the tag team, number one contender for the tag titles. That was very interesting. Braun Strowman coming out and eliminating most of the people. That was a lot of fun. But randomly, the Revival just gets eliminated by like Titus O'Neil. Like, are we done with the Revival? Have we completely given up on them? A couple of injuries and that's it? They were the best tag team going in NXT for a long time. It's really weird, and we've talked about this a couple times. It's really weird how certain wrestlers and certain gimmicks get over really well in NXT and just fall completely flat when they get to the main roster. It happened to the Ascension.
like I said before, they're in the wrong tag division. They need to be on SmackDown. I think they'll get better love. All right, guys, before we continue on, it's time to reveal the winners of the WWE Network subscription card. We got I Love Money and also Marco Hayward. Congratulations, guys. You guys are the 2 winners for the 3-month subscription WWE Network cards. Make sure you guys reach out at us over here at Geeks Unlimited to claim your prize. We'll be giving you guys a 2-week time limit. If we do not hear from you guys within 2 weeks, we will be choosing other winners. But like I said, congratulations. You guys will have more WWE Network than my co-host over here, and it'll be just in time for Wrestle-mania. All right, guys, now moving on with the show. Talking about Wrestle-mania now, we left off with the, what was it, the McMahons? Tag teams, yes. We were talking about the Revival tag team. I think they'll be a better fit on SmackDown. Like I said, SmackDown right now has the better tag division, and I do got to give it up to the Bar. They have defeated every tag team on Raw, kind of the same way how Asuka has defeated every woman on the Raw roster. You know, and I kind of like the way they're still keeping her on Raw, but she's challenging for the SmackDown title. Mm-hmm. You know, it gives her the opportunity to be part of both brands right now. She's kind of like a John Cena. She's kind of being like a free agent because she could be on both shows. But as we said before, as far as WrestleMania's looking great. I can't wait. Going back to Fastlane, the 6-pack challenge. What a match! I thought this match was going to be terrible because we spoke about it how it was going to be terrible because we knew AJ was going to win. But at one point there, you kind of thought he wasn't going to win. But your boy, Shane McMahon, stopped both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens from winning that title.
It matters how you get there, right? We all knew AJ Styles was going to win the match, or at least if we didn't know he was going to win the match, we knew it was the best idea for him to win the match. That was the correct decision. So you have to give some credit to WWE for making the correct decision. Even if it's the obvious one, sometimes even the obvious choice is still the best choice. But it still matters how you do it. And the match was good, you're right, but those spots with Shane McMahon pulling the referee out of the ring and then pulling Sami Zayn out of the ring in the middle of counts, it's dumb, it's a waste, and it doesn't fit with the story.
It's Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. We've seen it in the Attitude Era. And you know what? It worked in the Attitude Era. And I guess they're trying to do the same thing with Shane McMahon, and it's not working.
It's not.
It does generate heat. I mean, I like the way it generated the heat because the crowd was just like, whoa, because we all thought Kevin Owens was going to win until he pulled the ref out. Then we thought Sami Zayn was going to win, but then he pulled Sami Zayn. I was like, oh, man, here we go. But like I said, I got to give it up to SmackDown. They put on a better pay-per-view than Raw did, hands down. Like I said, Elimination Chamber was just way too predictable. At least Fastlane wasn't as predictable. I want to give a shout-out to Ruby Riott, who put on a hell of a match against Charlotte. We all knew Charlotte was going to win. She was going to go into WrestleMania as champion. But Ruby Riott, hands down, put on a great match, and to be the second to last match is even just as a good accomplishment for somebody who just recently came up from NXT. So I gotta give my props to her. Another match that we saw on there was what was it? It was the women's tag team match. It was okay. It was just to get Carmella out there.
Yeah, it was just to get Carmella on the show. I'm surprised they didn't tease a cash-in of her Money in the Bank contract again.
Would you have teased the cash-in? I mean, would you even try to cash in if you saw Asuka come out? You're just like, no.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I would have had Carmella sort of lurking behind Asuka just in case Asuka kicked Charlotte in the head, right? If Asuka kicks Charlotte in the head, then I'm running in and I'm cashing in my briefcase.
Now, I mean, that's really all for Fastlane. Fastlane, like I said, it wasn't a great pay-per-view, but it was better than Elimination Chamber. I do want to discuss very quickly Raw and SmackDown for this week.
Sure. I had one thing that I wanted to bring up about Raw, which is, why are we having John Cena and Roman Reigns do the exact same story? right? So John Cena comes out and he's like, oh, I'm going to challenge The Undertaker. And, the guys in the back, they might not want me to do that. Oh, I might get suspended. And then, I guess before that you had Roman Reigns come out and poop all over Brock Lesnar for not being there. And, the people in the back don't want him to say that. No, he did get suspended. Like, why are they doing the same thing? But Roman Reigns is getting suspended and John Cena is not.
I think the reason is that Roman Reigns' promo, they're trying to make it more realistic, more believable. I guess what they're trying to do is trying to generate heat on Brock Lesnar for not showing up to events where he's being advertised. And you have Roman there who's showing up, who's supposed to be having a one-on-one, face-to-face with Brock Lesnar. He's not showing up. I mean, I like the way this promo's going, and you got Vince in the middle of it now because, you're saying Vince is the boy. That's his boy. He lets Brock do whatever he wants. It's kind of not like the same promo, but I understand where you're coming from. As far as John Cena's promo, like I said, I've been saying for months we were going to see John Cena versus The Undertaker. I've been saying that for months now. I'm liking the way they're letting Reigns do his promos. Like I said, I'm not a Roman Reigns guy, but I think his promos are getting better week to week. But I think, hands down, best promo of the night, Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And I love the way Asuka even told Alexa Bliss. He said the reason, she said the reason why I'm challenging Charlotte is because to be the woman, you got to beat the woman. And hands down, Charlotte is the top woman superstar between both shows. She may be on the B show, but she's the A+ superstar. No, I'm not, have nothing against Alexa Bliss. I love Alexa Bliss, but everybody knows Alexa Bliss versus Asuka is not going to draw a crowd the way Charlotte and Asuka is.
Absolutely. That's going to be a great match, and it was cool to have Asuka, quote Ric Flair that way. Like that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, and she and I have to give it to Asuka tonight. She had a better promo tonight with Charlotte. And I don't know, maybe it's because the heat that Alexa Bliss generates herself doesn't make Asuka look strong. But there's one thing that I love about Asuka that makes her look dominant is when she starts speaking Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear her speak Japanese, it's just like, okay, now she means business.
Yep, you were about to get kicked in the head. that's the way it goes. And
when she did that last night on Raw against Alexa Bliss, when she said something really quick in Japanese, I was like, oh man, here it comes. And I love the way she told Alexa Bliss, she goes, I beat you once and I can beat you again. Mm-hmm. It makes it easy. Now, Alexa Bliss not only did one promo, she did two. And the second promo I absolutely loved.
Really?
She was basically just downplaying Nia Jax, saying she can make Nia Jax do whatever she wants. Nia Jax is, she got made fun of because of other kids. She should have. Look how big she is. She created a monster in Alexa Bliss. And yet again, I want to applaud Vince McMahon and creative for listening to me and Hertzgewertz, for giving Nia Jax a chance.
Yeah.
She deserves this opportunity at WrestleMania against her former best friend. I think it's time to pull the plug on this. I think Asuka will win the championship at WrestleMania and be part of SmackDown Live. And I think it's time to give Nia Jax her due. I think she's time to be women's champion until somebody comes up on the roster to take it away from her.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and we'll get into WrestleMania predictions, in a few weeks, but the way it's looking right now, that's too many title changes, right? Because Roman's probably going to beat Brock Lesnar, Asuka's probably going to beat Charlotte, Nia's probably going to beat Alexa, Strowman's probably going to beat the Bar. Like, that's too many title changes.
But that's the good thing about it.
There's going to be some upsets.
That's the good thing about it, is that you got all these champions who've been champions for a while. Now, the one thing I can see happening, and I know you say you wanted to wait on predictions, but I got to say this now so that way we can rewind it later so all the fans can know. If Nia Jax does not win the title at WrestleMania, I see her destroying Alexa Bliss, and I see Carmella coming out and cashing in and winning the title.
That would be.
I'm gonna take your road, and I think Carmella is gonna be the first female superstar to cash in at WrestleMania, just like Seth Rollins did 3 years ago, which the Botcher and I watched from the comfort of his home, and it was the first time I seen the Botcher actually mark out when Seth Rollins won. He screamed and jumped. It was epic because we all did, because that's who we wanted to see win anyway.
Sure.
I mean, if you want to spend another 2 or 3 minutes talking about Shane McMahon, you're free to go.
Did you see the way Shane McMahon took that bump on.
Listen, you may hate Shane McMahon, but he can take bumps, and that's what I like about him.
Bump, and
just the bump with the chair looked realistic.
It did, and that's one that we've seen a few times where they set someone's head up in a chair like that, and it didn't look realistic when Kane did it to Strowman or Strowman did it to Kane. It didn't look that good, but when Owens and Zayn did it to Shane McMahon,
it was brutal. It was brutal.
I think it's because he's already purple. Like, he already looks like he has trouble breathing. So it looks more authentic, like he can't breathe. It was an excellent. It was done really well, and I have there isn't anything else to say about it. It was perfect. And my only hope is Daniel Bryan comes back next week and just congratulates them.
Well, guys, that concludes this week's episode of the Announcers Table. Make sure you guys check us out on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. I'm your host, B-Rye, the co-host. Always a pleasure. The Canadian Screwjob himself, Hertz Gewurz. Until next week.
Next week. Deuces.